Now we're taking a look at crime in America, which has become a focal point on the campaign trail. After a string of horrific mass shootings in the U.S., the issue of gun violence is front and center in the key Ohio Senate race. NBC News Washington correspondent Yamiche Alcindor joins us from D.C. with more. She's also the moderator of Washington Week on PBS. So, Yamiche, Republican Senate nominee J.D. Vance is pushing for the U.S. to be tougher on crime. You spoke to him. You also spoke to his competitor, Congressman Tim Ryan. What did they tell you, and what are the differences in how they want to tackle this important issue?
Well, what's clear is that crime is taking center stage this midterm season amid spiking crime in different cities across this country. And of course, with these mass shootings continuing to focus the nation's attention on gun violence, this is really an issue where Democrats and Republicans are battling it out. In Ohio, in particular, J.D. Vance, the Republican, he's saying that in a lot of these mass shootings that there are red flags, that there are signs that people who are going to do bad things and possibly kill people, that they are sort of can be flagged, then there are laws that can impact them very directly, though he is also saying that there should be laws to protect people's Second Amendment rights. On the Democratic side, Tim Ryan is saying that there needs to be real focus on crime and policing, but he's also saying that there needs to be accountability for police. He, of course, signed on and supported and voted for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. But the really interesting thing here is that Democrats in particular, who had been talking for a long time about police reform, they have really in some ways started to echo the Republican stance, saying that they need to be more tough on crime, that crime needs to be center stage, that police officers need to get more resources. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance is doing everything he can, along with a lot of Republicans, to paint Democrats and in particular Tim Ryan as soft on crime.
So a number of politicians want to make this a key issue. Is it a key issue for voters? How's all this resonating with them?
Voters I talked to are very concerned about crime, and they're also concerned about police accountability. I had this really interesting experience where I talked to two Cleveland residents who were both impacted by shootings. Brenda Beckerstaff, her brother was killed by the police in 2002. She's worried that Democrats are talking too much about being tough on crime and not enough about police accountability. But then there's Erica Ingram, whose son was killed in neighborhood violence in 2019, and she told me that she really thinks Democrats are not doing enough to tackle crime. They're not taking it seriously enough. Listen to what both of them had to say to me.
Lazy. They don't fight hard enough for me. As the Republicans, they gonna fight. It's like the Democrats just be like, oh, well, we got 10-1. We just, okay, we give in. The Republicans gonna fight.
Stop straddling the fence and keep it real on the issues that we're dealing with. Can you still be tough on crime and still have police accountability? Of course you can. Make sure that your detectives and the police officers are trained, and they're trained to be able to have and arrest.
What's interesting is that both of them are undecided about who they are going to vote for. But Erica Ingram, again, whose son was killed in 2019, she says for the first time in her life, as a lifelong Democrat, she's thinking about voting Republican because she's impressed with J.D. Vance. So that tells you the Democrats have a lot of work to do in the state of Ohio.
Thank you, Yamiche, for your reporting. And you can catch more of her reporting tonight on NBC Nightly News at 6:30 p.m. Eastern.